Hey, I'm Jackson, and I'm going to start by showing you the original video for my project. My intention originally with the AI was to use these things called neural filters to change the setting and the season, etc., to a different thing. So from a snowy, wintry setting to like a desert kind of setting. And I'm going to show you what that's all about. So this is a picture of Banff. I did not take this picture, but we are going to turn this into a desert setting using Photoshop. So you open the picture in Photoshop, you go up to the filters tab, you open up Neural Filters, and there's all these options in this panel on the right. The two ones that I really actually like are Style Transfer and Landscape Mixer, because with Style Transfer you can do what I'm showing right now, which is I've turned the same landscape into like a Monet painting, or at least the style of. However, for the purposes of this assignment, I wanted to do Landscape Mixer because I wanted to turn that ski video you watched in the beginning into like a deserty kind of theme, make it something a little bit more different and interesting. It's something I've wanted to do for a long time, and I've never really tried it. So I thought I'd start with that and then bring it into Touch after the fact. The issue is that when you bring in a GIF or a video or really any kind of file into Photoshop, for some reason the filters just stop working altogether, so you have to do it frame by frame. And given that I shot some of the stuff in 60 frames per second, or at least 30 frames per second, that's 30 images for every second of footage I want to do, which is just very, it's just not an option. That's unreasonable. So instead, I decided to bring the project into After Effects and Premiere and just mess around with effects and settings and just things I could do, especially keying. I didn't realize, but keying in a way is almost sort of like automation. Keying is when you use like a green screen. So you tap a color and it removes a specific color from a frame, which I've used a lot before, but I haven't used it in this way before. And very quickly I realized a fun thing I could do with it is turn the sky, certain parts of the sky, certain colors in the sky, into like the aurora borealis, because I grew up north and we used to see shit like that like a pretty decent amount. So I thought it'd be a weird little homage I could do, and because it's daytime I thought that'd be an interesting contrast. Then I brought the project into Touch, and I wanted to do something complicated, but I'm like, why complicated? Why not just try to make something I've already done a bit? Why don't I try to just mess around with the default and just see what I can do with that? So I used some displacement that was sort of built in there. I just sort of used the original layout, which I've never actually done before. So I thought I'd just mess around with that and what I can do with that without adding too much other than like movie file out. And at this point, I'd kind of gotten distracted, so I decided to add like a achievement. I feel like I kind of lost my original vision for what the project was going to be. Definitely probably one of the sloppiest processes I've had in this at school so far. But here is the resulting final, I guess you could call it. I think I kind of just wanted to have fun and experiment because I feel like it's been a while at OCAD since I've actually just done any kind of experimenting with other stuff. I find I adhere way too much to the guidelines, so I tried to stick to them for this project, but I went a little bit off the rails, and I don't think it was the worst result of all time. It could have been a lot better. Typically in my process, I do a lot of planning ahead of time where I'm just thinking constantly about what I'm going to do, and then I start making, and I make and I make and I make, and then I look back and I compare and I contrast. I could do a little critique with myself. I show it to other people. I see what they think. And it's just a lot of thinking, and I just thought for this one, what if I just do something without really thinking about it? I'm just making and making and making and not planning stuff out. I'm not really thinking too much beyond, oh, I want to work with neural filters. That's all I really thought about going into this. Now, looking back at the video, there's two things I really wish that I'd focused a lot more on. One would be the aurora borealis effect. That kind of thing got thrown out the window for some random, like colored version. Like it should have just been like the more classic, it has a richer meaning, I think. And then also the second thing would be the sound of the chairlift. I'll put a little clip in here of it, but I got rid of the sound, and it's like, dude, the sound was so awesome of that chairlift clanging. I mean, I just totally neglected sound in this piece, and it's actually a really strong component of it. The sound of the snow, the sound of the hitting the rail, the sound of the wind, the sound of the chairlift, all these things all together. I could have honestly just done a neural filter of like a few independent frames and then just played that audio in the background and had it like tell this story frame by frame. That could have actually been a lot better. But yeah, I feel like I learned a lot. I think not the neural filters being a lot harder than I thought. Not that I don't want to put the effort in. It's just became a timing issue. Anyway, I feel like I learned a lot through the process of this, and I hope you find it as interesting as I might have.